I really didn't think it was going to happen. I really didn't. And then it did. Russia invaded Ukraine. Hi, welcome back. I'm the colorblind architect, and today I felt the need to talk a little bit about the Russia-Ukraine war and what is going on in Eastern Europe. My concerns are very personal. I actually have family in Romania, which is just to the west of Ukraine. In fact, Romania has actually been taking on the bulk of the refugees from Ukraine who are trying to flee the war. I think as of today, over 35,000 Ukrainians have crossed the border into Romania, and Romania is, basically doing what they can to provide them with food and housing and water, and making sure that they're well while they, hopefully only temporarily are in exile from their own country. This was an unprovoked attack. Let's be very clear about that. I've been hearing a lot of trash theories on the internet about how Ukraine is run by a bunch of neo-Nazis, that this is not our war, it's something that we shouldn't be concerned about. It's really just a distraction from domestic issues here in the United States. And I'm just going to say to those people, shut it. You're welcome to your opinion, but here's the thing. I really did believe that for a good long time that this was all a distraction, that the threat of war was really just Biden trying to distract the American people from his own mistakes, his own failures. And I'm going to tell you right now, I was wrong. I did not believe that Russia was going to launch a full-scale invasion of Ukraine. I really thought that Vladimir Putin, albeit evil, albeit a thug, was not that insane, was not that evil. I thought maybe he was gonna, try to get the Donbass and those places out in the east. I thought he was just gonna try to carve those out and, salami slice his way, kind of like the way China does. And, I was wrong. I was horribly wrong. That's why Thursday morning when I woke up to the news that Russia had invaded, I was devastated. I was just... The thought that you would have such senseless violence in this day and age, it's horrifying. This is the kind of thing that you read about in history books. You don't actually live it. I mean, I grew up in the 80s and 90s, for me, I got to witness the world go from Cold War, to being this place in the 1990s where it was such an exciting time that we saw the whole entire world as now, wow, we can finally be free of this scourge of communism, and we can actually have this global peace. The problem was, in our arrogance, we thought that it could never happen again. We thought that we were in an era of peace, an era of prosperity, and we were. We were. For 30 years, we saw such a growth in human capital, human prosperity, human peace. And even though there were little skirmishes, wars, like Afghanistan, or, little, and they were important for those people, but they were minor. They weren't affecting the global community as much. It was something where we generally had peace and prosperity. We even thought that the Chinese were finally turning a leaf and becoming more freedom loving. And, it sure seemed like that in the 1990s. Even to the point where, England gave Hong Kong back to China, And so we all thought that everything was getting better. But over time, China and Russia, they were biding their time. They, especially with Putin. He was biding his time, just building things up. China is too. We need to be very careful. China is very much building up their resources. So here's my concern, and part of the reason why I wanted to discuss this in this video. So we have this principle in global politics called mutually assured destruction. It has to do with the fact that we have nuclear weapons as Americans. The Russians have nuclear weapons. The English, the French, the Israelis, the Chinese, they all have nuclear weapons. So we've got quite a few countries now with nuclear weapons, but there's a general détente, right? There's this general idea that, okay, I'm not going to attack you because I know you have nuclear weapons. You're not going to attack me because you know I have nuclear weapons. So we basically agree, okay, yeah, let's just play nice because we don't want to die. And here's the problem with that theory. The problem with that theory is I'm not so sure Putin is not off his rocker. See, he states that he believes that Ukraine has always been a part of Russia and that the Ukrainian people actually want Russian rule. He believes that, or at least he believed until this invasion, that his soldiers were going to go in and be greeted as liberators by the Ukrainian people, because he also claimed to believe that, he believed that the Ukrainian leaders were basically a bunch of neo-Nazis. And I still don't understand that logic. But, that's the problem with trying to understand an insane psychopath. And yes, Vladimir Putin is an insane psychopath. I thought he was more rational than this. I mean, I always believed he was evil, but I always thought he was rational until recently, where now I'm just like, holy crap, he might just be thoroughly insane. So now you've got the Ukrainians fighting like lions, defending their land, their homes. And as much as I want to celebrate their heroism, I still can't shake this feeling that this is not going to end well. And this affects us as architects. Not just because, for me, my wife is Romanian, so we have family in Romania, so we are very concerned about their safety being literally right next door. And they have been the most vocal and helpful towards the Ukrainians of any of the European countries. So they are very high on the target list, I'm sure. for Vladimir Putin, especially since Putin, I'm sure, still views Romania as, what should be Russian-controlled territory. Because after all, under the Soviets, they did control it, albeit not directly. And I don't think he would actually go in and try to control Romania directly. I think if he was to try to invade Romania, I think he would probably install a dictator who is, favorable to Moscow. Kind of like what he did back, what the Soviets did back in the 50s and 60s. So the point being is that this is very personal for me. Now, for those of us using ArchiCAD, this is also very concerning, because the software that we use is written in Budapest, which is very close to the Romanian border. It's also not too far from Ukraine. It's very close to this struggle. First off, I want to say to the people at Graphisoft, thank you for all your service, all your work to make such a great software package, something that I have greatly benefited through my use. But also, stay safe. Our prayers are with you. And then there's also all our fellow architects in Russia and Ukraine, who I'm certain many of the architects in Russia are opposed to this unlawful invasion. As I know, very many Russians are also opposed to this in general. My hope and prayer right now is that the inner circle in the Kremlin, I hope that they will devise some kind of plot to just take out Vladimir Putin and kind of pull the reins back a lot. I think right now that's what has to happen. If we are going to restore peace, Putin needs to be taken out, but he has to be taken out by his inner circle. And I think that is a very possible option, because after all, if they're not completely insane, I'm sure they have got to see that Putin is ruining their chances of well-being. So hopefully that happens. Unfortunately, we've got this potential problem of nuclear war now, because Putin's now talking about, have nuclear readiness. Now, he claims it's because he needs to be ready to counter NATO's threat of bombing him. And you know very well that NATO's not going to do that. NATO is not an offensive organization. NATO is a defensive organization. And straight up, I believe that if Putin is left unchecked, he may attempt to drop a nuclear bomb on Kiev or possibly even other places around the world. And I think in all this chaos, China may attempt to take over Taiwan. That will get Japan and South Korea involved, because they have mutual defense treaties with Taiwan. And so then they'll be at war with China. We'll be at war because we have mutual defense treaties with them. North Korea would attack South Korea. So we'd be involved in that. And then Russia will try to go into Poland and Romania, and they're NATO countries now, so we'd be defending them. And now we'll be fighting a European and a Pacific War. World War III is on, and I am scared. I am honestly scared. This is a scary time to be alive. I don't know what the solution to the mutual assured destruction theory, how to improve upon that, how to prevent nuclear war. that's something that I'd love to hear thoughts from others. I'd love to hear ideas. But that's my question that I'm leaving is mutual assured destruction really the way to prevent nuclear war? Or is there maybe a better way? Is there maybe a better theory that could help ensure peace? My prayers go out to everybody, especially any of you that are directly affected by this. Whether it be you personally being in Ukraine or Russia, or if you have family there or family nearby, I really am concerned for this whole situation, and hopefully it resolves in a acceptable way. And I say acceptable, recognizing that there's already likely thousands who have perished in this struggle. Anyways, I'm the Colorblind Architect. Have a good day. Be at peace. Peace out.